Hi everybody, how's it going? So welcome to Random Stuff here with Merla. It's Monday night, and normally I go live on Monday nights just to talk about a topic of interest to myself and that I think might be of interest to some of you guys. And with spring coming and summer on its way, hopefully, then I thought this would be a good thing to show you guys is some upscaling of glass art. Just purchasing inexpensive glass pieces from a thrift store, from a flea market or whatever, and showing you one way that you could use them. So I love thrift stores. So yeah, so it's kind of a fun thing to do. A friend of mine got me into it a few years ago. So we've made a few different things. So if you caught the live or if you're watching the replay, feel free to say hi, give me a wave in the comments or whatever, and maybe show me, put a picture of something, a glass art that you've made or something. That would be cool. I'm sure it's getting really popular out there. Lots of people are making stuff with the different glass pieces that you can get. So yeah, so if you haven't met before, if you're new to my page or you haven't seen me on here before, I'm Merla, as my profile says, Merla Kruger, and I live in Brandon, Manitoba, where it's supposed to be spring, but it's been kind of a cold start, but we're getting there, I hope. I'm getting ready to get outside and get into my garden, so I've got a few pieces of these sitting around. So we're going to make a bird bath. So I'm just going to show you kind of what you're going to need. Like I said, choose some inexpensive pieces that you found. Glassware, like a larger bowl, preferably quite flat for the bath part of the bird bath, because the birds won't go in it if it's too deep. So this was kind of cool because it's like a pink. It's got lots of design on it. It's going to be pretty with the sunlight hitting on it. So you can get like solid colored ones too, but I found this one. I think I got it at a thrift store in Brandon here somewhere. They're getting harder to find because a lot of people are buying this stuff, so you kind of have to hunt for the really good pieces. So, and then something for your stem. I'm choosing 2 vases to make the stem with. I've got this really pretty clear glass pink one, and it's going to go on the bottom part. And then I'll put if I'm doing 2 pieces of vases, like 2 vases, I like to put like a stabilizer in, so a smaller plate in between them to stabilize it. And then I always like to put, not everybody does this, but I like to put a base on the bottom so that it's much sturdier when you sit it on the ground. It sits more level. And then also you can put like bird seed around it, and sometimes the birds will sit on this part of it as well. And sometimes they'll even come and you can put like water in here and they can drink out of there too. So it's kind of cool. So get your pieces, mix and match the colors, what you like. I'm choosing a pink theme just because I found a bunch of pink ones, and I had to ask my friend Marie for this one because I didn't have a bigger pink one, so she helped me out there. Thank you, Marie. She's made a lot of these too. So yeah, so find your glass that you like and wash it all down with soap and water, or just wash it or put it in your dishwasher, whatever works for you. And then what I like to do is just to make sure the soap is all washed off, I like to get a rag and put rubbing alcohol on the rag, like quite a bit of it, and then just wipe down the pieces so that you to be sure to have all of the soap off and any maybe things that might have stuck that you didn't get washed off, just to clean it all off nicely. And you have to make sure that they're really, really dry. So, and the main part is to make sure that you've wiped the part that's going to get glued. Is more the important part. So really give that a good wipe on the bottom. And this part that's going to get glued. I'll need a little bit more here. And another thing about the glass, it's better if there's not a lot of design on it that's going to, like ridges is what I mean. This one's not too bad because the ridges are very, very shallow, so the glue can sit in there, but the bottom part is better if it's as flat as possible because it'll stick better. And I'm just going to wipe down the plate as well, and then the top of this and the bottom of this. So you just get it all wiped down and make sure that it's really, really dry. So I'm just going to kind of show you how I'm going to put it together because I won't be able to show you when it's all finished right now, but I'll be able to post a picture of it after tomorrow when I finish gluing it, but we'll do part of the gluing tonight. So what I'm going to do is this is going to be, like I said, my base. Oh, I see I've got a bit of a sunlight shining there, so hopefully you can see it. And then this one I'm going to choose to put on top of there. And then this is going to be my stabilizer piece, like that. And then this one's going to go right here. And then this one will go on the top. And hopefully it doesn't fall over because I'm just trying to show you here what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to have my little glass. You can buy little ornaments. And they're like 50 cents or whatever at the store, like at the thrift store. You can find all kinds of things. So I found this cute little bird. And they have to be glass. Otherwise it won't, glue properly. And then I just put that in the middle of the bird bath. So I thought he was kind of cute. So that's kind of how it's going to look when we're done. So I'm going to take it down now. And this one, we're going to turn it upside down. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And that one's going to go with that one to get glued. And then we'll take this off, move our piece over here. And then we're going to turn this one upside down, because this part is going to get glued like this. And the reason I'm doing that is we kind of got caught on this a couple of times. If you glue it this way with this standing up, you put the glue on here, the glue tends to seep down, run down into the vase. So it's better to glue it upside down so that it sits up like this. And then the glue just pools right there and it just gives it a better seal. So yeah, so that's kind of what we'll do. So this piece we're going to glue onto here like this. And you have to let it sit for 24 hours like that to make sure it's really, really dry. So we'll put the glue all along here and it'll be a nice bead of glue, and even kind of let it sit for a few minutes to get it stiffened up a little bit before you stick it on. So that'll be like that. And then this one, we'll glue it to this smaller plate like this, so that same kind of thing. The glue will go on this lip and let it dry a little bit and stick it on there so that the glue's not running down into the inside, which I had that happen a couple of times. It didn't look so good. So that's why I'm doing that. Now, the type of glue. There's a few different ones that you can use. There's E6000, which is a good one. This one that I have, I couldn't find the E6000 in the store that I was in, and we have used this one before. This is the automotive clear. Make sure you're buying clear. It's called Amazing Goop. So I'm not sure which of the two is better. Use both. I have a piece out in the yard right now. They're actually flowers, so just use the plates, and we glued a bunch of plates together. And I forgot to bring it in over the winter. Didn't even think about it till I was doing the research on this to make sure I had everything to tell you guys. And the girl that I follow that does some of this stuff, she had said, oh, to make sure that you bring all your pieces in. Well, I forgot about the flowers. But as I'm sitting looking out, I've been looking at them all winter, they're still together. So the glue held all through the winter. Those flowers and those ones you put on a rebar and stick them on with a little attachment. So yeah, the glue stuck pretty good. And I think that glue was the E6000. So yeah, so that's kind of fun. So I'll just kind of go through some of the gluing here. So this one here, we're going to glue this part. So I'll put the glue on there right now just to kind of show you how I do it. Oh, and I forgot to poke the hole in it. One sec here. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so you just want to put a really nice thick bead all along the edge of your piece. And you can never have too much glue. You want it to have a really good seal. If a bit runs in, that's okay. You're not going to see it, but that. And then we'll just let that just for a sec. And you want to just kind of set it on and just kind of wiggle it a little bit. There, that's actually feeling really good there. And you can even, if you think afterwards, you can add a little bit of glue along the edges to make a better seal along, but I'll check that tomorrow, and if I feel I need to, I'll put a little bit more along the edges, on the outside of that, to make it be really, really sturdy. And then this one here, we're just going to put right along the edge of this. This has got a much wider edge, so it'll be easier. And the pieces, I kind of have a rule that I try not to spend any more like than $4 a piece. And I will try to go on days when there's sales. Because you want to do them as cheap as you can, right? So I don't generally pay, I think I've paid $5 for one. But I mean, that's going to be a really nice piece for me to pay $5. I'm kind of cheap that way. So we've got it nicely along the lip of that one, and it's going to go right in the middle of this little guy. And just kind of wiggle it a little bit to get it to settle. Yeah. So we have to let those guys harden for 24 hours before I do anything more. But I'll put them together like I showed you. This piece will get glued onto the big plate, and this piece will get glued onto the top of the small plate. So yeah, so it should be kind of neat, but I'll show you in the end, and then we'll glue the little bird onto the top, into the dish, into the bowl. So it's kind of a fun project. Let me know if you try one, and has anyone tried one? Let me know. That'd be great to know. So take care, and thanks for watching. Have a good night. Bye.